After you've set your load cell, then you go in here, and your deviation alarm percentage is defaulted at 25% deviation, and the calibration deviation of 5%, and those can be adjusted by touching on the button and dialing in a new number. Then if we go back to the device configuration, we also need to set some more settings on your configuration. The language, choose the flag that represents the language, and the black box will indicate which one you're going to select. And then production mode, whether you're on an injection molding machine or an extrusion machine, we're going to leave this one set for injection. And then your input type is just whatever source from your molding machine or your injection molding machine, whether we want it relay or whether we want timer. Relay is not real time. There is some dampening built into the relay. It can be a dry contact closure, or it can be a 24-volt DC signal sent to us, of which the schematic in the appendix page explains what wire colors you use for 24-volt input and which wire colors you use. Brown and white are used for dry contact, and yellow and white are used for 24-volt contact input. Timer mode is just that. There's a timer setting. The difference between relay and timer is that we use that 24-volt input or that dry contact closure as the start for our feeder to start turning, but it only runs for the length of time regardless of what that contact does, whether it bounces or the number of times that it's on or off. It'll still only run for the number of seconds we have in timer. Versus relay, there's some dampening built in, but it'll adjust itself over time. If your molding machine or your extruder changes in speed or throughput, the relay mode will learn that time, but it's not real time. So you want to choose which mode of input you have, and then auto starts just that, whether you make an adjustment, whether it'll immediately start or whether you have to start it off and reset it or turn it off and back on again. Recipe function, whether we want to use and save recipes to run on or whether we don't. And then your setup operator, tooling, supervisor, and then here's your IP address if you were to want to network your TrueFeed touchscreen. Here's where you would change your IP address or your subnet mask or your gateway for communications. Your date and time can be altered or changed if it's wrong here. And right here, the number of controllers is because I mentioned in an earlier video, the number of controllers that you're going to operate with a given touch screen can be changed here. From 1 through 4 feeders can be operated if you change the number that you have here. Right here is the overall throughput, and then whether we're in imperial or metric units. I have it right now with imperial units off, so we're reading in metric. Profibus on or off, and then device address, also set up for communications. And that's about all of the settings we have for configuration of the TrueFeed. And we'll also go into doing a material calibrate and giving a material a name. From the from your home screen, if you were to press the icon that looks like an arrow with material sitting on top of it, here's where we set a number of seconds and the time that we want to run in the RPM of the units, and prime is just going to fill the dosing tool with material from the hopper. Here's the setup of production data, and here's where we would give a set material a name. So after we've calibrated your unit, the load cell calibrate, and we would want to go in to do a material calibrate. This is where we would start setting up our different materials. When you save a material name, is what you're saving is the dosing rate with that given pellet in that given dosing unit throughout the RPM range of the stepper motor. So to do that, you would want to give that material a name, whether it be a color name or if it has a number to it. This is where you can, we're gonna call this test 1 for a material. And then we would put the percentage that we're gonna run that particular material or color concentrate or whatever it may be. Shot weight, because we're in injection, that would be the overall shot size of the mold that's in there. And then it asks for a relay time, even if you're not in relay mode. Really, that could also be recovery time that it takes to fill that shot. And it's using that for the math equation to calculate the numbers for the given rate as it's learning that. So we're going to say that it takes 10 seconds to fill that shot. And then we would start the unit if we had material in the hopper. And that's pretty much all the settings for setting up a material and naming a material that you want to pre-calibrate.